La victoire du peuple, c'est la volonté de Dieu, parce que de toute l'histoire de notre nation, c'est pour la première fois que tout le peuple sort dans la rue pour dire nous n'en voulons plus du tout et nous avons désigné notre leader et nous le porterons au pouvoir. C'est pour la première fois.
Le tour c'est le dernier tour. Tchiroma! 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 Que le seul candidat en liste pour l'élection de qui veut le véritable changement, c'est-à-dire le changement de système pour que le pouvoir revienne au peuple, c'est le candidat du SDF.
Beaucoup a certes déjà été fait, mais je puis vous assurer que le meilleur reste à venir.
Cameroon is currently focused on the presidential elections, which is slated for October 12, 2025. President Biya, who has held power for over 40 years and now has served multiple terms, is seeking another term in power. His decision was met with mixed reactions. Some in his parties and affiliated groups rallied behind him.
Vote for Biya. Victory! 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 WCPDM! 100% for Biya!
While many opposition parties and civil society organizations called for him to step down and allow for transition of power. Though many of his supporters say he presents political stability and peace and also economic resilience as compared to other states in West Africa and Africa as a whole. So in today's video, we are exploring each candidate's profile and future plans for Cameroon if elected as president, and what they will have done as campaign strategies or coalitions towards victory. So stay tuned, because what we have gathered so far, especially about President Biya and Issa Tchiroma Bakary, Cameroon and Joshua Osei, will shock you. So please do like, comment and subscribe to get more of our stories and political happenings across Cameroon and of course in Africa. Let's take a deep dive into Joshua Osei. He is a prominent Cameroonian politician and the current chairman of the Social Democratic Front, SDF, which is the opposition party in Cameroon. He was born on December 9, 1968 in Kumba, Southwest region. He holds an MBA in Leadership and Sustainability and has over 25 years of experience in the aviation sector, alongside ventures in eco-tourism, hospitality and also aquaculture. He is also the founder and managing director of Camport PLC, a major logistic company in Cameroon. Politically, Osei joined the SDF in 1991 and steadily rose through the ranks, becoming regional chairman for the Southwest region in 2002. He was elected as the party's vice president several times and served as the first English-speaking Cameroonian parliamentarian in Douala, the littoral region, significantly economic and political hub. In 2018, he was the SDF presidential candidate, positioning himself as a moderate voice seeking democratic change and addressing the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions. In October 2023, Osei succeeded John Frunzi as the party chairman, where he has reiterated his commitment to leading the SDF to electoral victories and transforming Cameroon through justice, federalism, and also economic development. He is widely seen as a moderate, conciliatory figure uniquely positioned to bridge Cameroon's French and English-speaking communities and address some of the country's pressing political challenges. Osei's platform stresses good governance, transparency, inclusive federalism, and also economic revival, with a focus on youth engagement and reconciliation amid Cameroon's ongoing political crisis. He remains a key opposition figure in the 2025 presidential elections. Joshua Osei, the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Front in the 2025 elections, officially launched his campaign in Bamenda, the headquarters of Cameroon's English-speaking Northwest region, on September 27, 2025. The area has been deeply affected by the tensions, which makes his campaign launch there symbolically and politically significant. Osei advocates for executive federalism system, emphasizing true decentralization where power flows from the bottom up to emphasize citizens or empower citizens directly. His vision contrasts sharply with the current centralized regime and aligns more closely with the demands of English-speaking activists for greater regional autonomy. Central to his campaign is a proposed overhaul of the Cameroonian constitution to establish a federal and semi-parliamentary system, which he plans to present to citizens for approval through a referendum. His socio-economic program, named Rescue Cameroon, highlights ambitious reforms such as free essential administrative documents, including national identity cards, birth certificates, free education through secondary school, accessible health care, increased minimum wage, and also an amnesty for political prisoners. Osei stresses the reversal of power concentration in a hyper-presidential system and aims to decentralize governance to strengthen democracy and local initiative. Osei also focuses on revamping the education system, especially public education, vocational and technical training, and also promoting STEM-related fields to tackle youth unemployment and also brain drain. Health reform is another key pillar, advocating better pay for medical workers, broader access to care, and integration of traditional medicine into the public system. On international issues, Osei supports anchoring Cameroon in Pan-Africanism with increased engagement in groups like BRICS, seeks parliamentary solidarity, and calls for a more independent multilateral international order. To President Paul Biya's regime. While not pursuing a coalition with other opposition leaders, Osei is focused on championing his distinct federalist platform and social justice agenda as a credible alternative. Joshua Osei's campaign thus combines constitutional reform, socio-economic justice, national reconciliation through federalism, and a vision for a more equitable and united Cameroon ahead of the October 12 polls. So while we pause here and reflect about Osei's campaign, please take a second to like, subscribe, and share this video. Now let's take a look at Bello Buba's campaign message and support as he seeks to overcome his former boss. Let us see how Akeremuna and Ateki Saxton has influenced the popularity and their coalition strategy. Bello Buba Bakary, leader of the National Union for Democracy and Progress, is a veteran politician and Minister of State for Tourism. In July 2025, he declared his presidential candidacy, positioning himself as a candidate for democratic reform and national unity. His coalition aims to present a united front capable of addressing key national issues including transparency, federalism and anti-corruption, and also resolving the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. Akeremuna, the former Universe Party candidate and renowned anti-corruption lawyer, notably withdrew from the presidential race to back Bello Buba. His endorsement was based on months of dialogue with Buba, where he secured commitment on fighting corruption, endorsing federalism as demanded by the two English-speaking regions, and addressing the Northwest and Southwest crisis. And addressing the crisis or the tensions in the Northwest and Southwest. Despite some controversy within his own party over his decision or this decision, Muna insists opposition unity is critical to overcome the ruling party's electoral dominance. He now campaigns alongside Bello Buba, calling for a broader alliance of opposition candidates to prevent vote splitting. Ateki, on the other hand, the young leader of the Liberal Alliance Party, was the first to withdraw his candidacy in favor of Bello Buba. Responding to public calls for unity, he framed his alliance as a patriotic and strategic move to strengthen the opposition's chances. His endorsement hashtag Ateki Bello 2025 conveys a message of solidarity. He stresses that a coalition is vital to deliver real change based on wide consultations and the need to rally behind a consensus candidate. So the coalition formed by Bello Buba, Akeremuna and Ateki represents the broadest opposition front in recent Cameroonian history. They advocate for executive federalism, to dissolve power to local communities, addressing grievances from the northwest and southwest population, and national unity. They also seek to bring about a strong fight against corruption embedded in the Biya's regime. They also seek to release the release of political prisoners, dual nationality right, inclusive political dialogue, and also peace building in conflict-affected regions in the country. Electoral reforms is also one of them, which they seek to ensure a free, transparent, and also fair elections. So despite some internal party criticisms and legal challenges faced by Akeremuna for entering the coalition without full party consent, the alliance remains resolute. Together they appear to be the most significant force aiming to end decades of CPDM dominance by presenting a united opposition front in the October 12 elections. This coalition hopes to mobilize mass support across Cameroon, appealing to younger voters, English-speaking communities, and those frustrated by the incumbent's long rule and governance style. Before we move to Paul Biya, Issa, Tchiroma, Bakary, and the remaining candidates, please subscribe as we uncover elections in the country Cameroon. So let's go straight into looking at the main opposition as it seems at the moment of the course. No other political leader but Issa Tchiroma Bakary. So who is he exactly? He is a veteran Cameroonian politician and statesman born on September 10, 1949 in Garoua. Originally trained as a railway engineer and held various ministerial positions, including Minister of Transport from 1992 to 1996, Minister of Communications from 2009 to 2019, and Minister of Employment and Vocational Training from 2019 to 2025. Tchiroma is the leader of the Front for the National Salvation of Cameroon, a party that transitioned from government ally to opposition, and he is now of the opposition candidate in the 2025 presidential elections. Tchiroma officially announced his candidacy on June 25, 2025 with the slogan, "We are the power," signaling his focus on popular sovereignty and institutional renewal. He advocates for a new federalist system underpinned by popular sovereignty, world redistribution, and inclusive national reconciliation. Known for his candor and political perseverance, he has gained support, particularly in the northern regions of Cameroon, challenging the long dominance of President Paul Biya in that area. Politically, Tchiroma has experienced shifts, having been part of government under Biya, while later emerging as a vocal critic, especially addressing issues like youth unemployment, poverty, and regional marginalization. So his campaign actually stresses the demands for a national awakening. Tchiroma's campaign positions him as a center-right federalist advocating for popular sovereignty and economic justice, aiming to unite northern and other regional voters for significant political change. While he leads a smaller party, his political experience and regional influence make him a formidable player. He stands somewhat apart from the coalition formed by Bello Buba, Akeremuna and Ateki, representing another front of opposition focused on alternative governance models and large-scale institutional reforms. So his campaign has drawn international attention, gaining support from democratic countries that see his moderate, dialogue-based approach as conducive for national stability amid Cameroon's socio-political crisis. Taking together Issa Tchiroma Bakary's profile is that of a seasoned politician with deep regional ties advocating for constitutional reform, federalism and a break from entrenched power dynamics as Cameroon approaches its pivotal 2025 elections. So far, he has seen the main opposition with full campaign grounds even in Bamenda and Biya, where he cited in 2018 neglecting the socio-political problem. He has been heard and seen begging for forgiveness and appealing to the people's conscience to vote for him so he could change things. He is now the opposition leader and a force in sight for the incumbent Biya and other political parties to look at as they continue the rallies, as any outcome is expected after the ballot of the October 12 polls. Now let's go to the most anticipated person of the moment, the incumbent president Biya, decorated with notable titles in the Cameroonian context such as Chief of Chiefs, FONOF and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and many other notable titles. So here is a deep dive into the CPDM and their candidate, Biya. He is the long-serving president of Cameroon and the presidential candidate of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM, in the October 2025 elections. Born on February 13, 1933 in Vomeka, Biya became the second president of Cameroon in 1982 after serving as Prime Minister and Secretary General under his predecessor Amadou Ahidjo. So as of 2025, he is the world's oldest sitting leader and one of the longest ruling heads of state, having led Cameroon for over 40 years. Biya's political rise was marked by rapid advancements as a skilled bureaucrat, culminating in his elevation following Ahidjo's unexpected resignation. He consolidated power quickly, overcoming a failed coup attempt in the early 1980s and led a highly centralized system through the one-party era. Facing internal and external pressures in the early 1990s, Biya oversaw a gradual and tightly controlled opening to multi-party politics, though each consequence or subsequent election under his rule, from the controversial 1992 contest to the 2018 polls, has been marked by allegations of systematic fraud, opposition suppression and restricted civil liberties. Under Biya, the CPDM has maintained near complete dominance, controlling about 90% of elective offices and waving the party structure into the machinery of the state. Patronage networks, loyalty rewards and swift disciplinary actions against dissent have kept party ranks closed and challengers marginalized. The Presidential Majority Alliance, forged with several opposition groups, particularly in the politically strategic northern regions, has long propped up his rule. However, this coalition has shown signs of weakness in 2025 following elections by high-profile ministers and increased internal party discontent. For the 2025 campaign, Biya confirmed his run for an 7-year term, seeking to remain in power until age 99 if re-elected. His campaign leverages continuity, experience and promises of peace and stability in a context of mounting economic pressures, ongoing tensions in the two English-speaking regions, and of course, youth frustrations. The government has boosted of achievements in infrastructure, macroeconomic stability and resilience through crises like the COVID-19 pandemic and Boko Haram insurgency. However, critics point to the growing challenges of secession, increased authoritarianism and also lack of credible progress on political reform or national reconciliation. The exclusion of strong opposition contenders, notably Maurice Kamto, has heightened tensions and skepticism about the legitimacy of the electoral process. And also the electoral machineries makes another victory likely despite rising calls for change and anxieties about post-Biya succession. Biya's candidacy in 2025 exemplifies both the stability and the deep-seated challenges of Cameroonian politics, with, of course, his rule symbolizing continuity for some and obstruction to democratic development for others. He has seen major support from around the country, making him a favorite by CPDM supporters as per the forthcoming elections on the 12th of October 2025. If you want to know more about Cameroon's elections, please click down here as we will be uncovering or covering some live videos directly from stations and bringing it live to you. Comment below who you think is the favorite candidate and who has presented the best manifesto so far. Thank you for watching and please do leave a like and subscribe.